Dumb, cool,
weird
podcast. Welcome to the Dumb, Cool, Weird podcast, and well,
did it again.
Yeah, Phantasm II.
It started right where it left off in the first film.
Yep, and it turns out that every single sequel going forward is going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride over the next couple weeks, but this one definitely took the cake, and it burnt the cake, and then it regurgitated the cake, and then it shit out the cake.
And then one of those little droney ball things finger fucked the cake, I guess.
Yep. So, well, you know, when you watch this movie, you're going to notice that it's not the same Mike. It's a different actor.
They get a lot of... Mike, the original Mike, I think, comes back in like the third one.
Third one, fourth one, and fifth one. I guess he probably had a film career after the first one, and then it died down by the time the third one rolled around.
I was going to say that kid looked pretty familiar from like other 70s and 80s films. Yeah. And then he was like, you know, I guess I can't do commercials anymore, so...
Phantasm II.
Yeah. Fuck it. Yeah, Reggie was like in one commercial, and the rest of his career is stuck in Phantasm.
Yeah, so apparently what happened is the jump scare at the end apparently really happened. Mike was really grabbed, and the tall man was trying to get him out of there.
With his midgets.
With his midgets, yeah.
His army of midgets.
Mm-hmm. And then apparently the house explodes after Mike and Reggie get out of there. And then it turns out that didn't really happen. Apparently 7 years passed by, and Mike's been in an insane asylum.
Yeah. And then we get another angle of the same house blowing up.
Yep.
Because we made that joke. You're like, do you think they blew up two houses? And I'm like, oh, no, I think they actually just took a different angle on this one.
Probably what they were doing is they shot one side of the house in the dream where they blew it up, and then they shot the other side of the house at the same time while they were blowing it up, just so they could have both.
Yeah. Apparently Reggie also, when the house actually blew up, lost his wife and kids.
Was it his wife and kids?
Yeah, it was his wife and kids.
That's weird, because they didn't even establish that in the
previous
movie.
All he was like, he's like, yeah, you know, I've got the wife, and, you know, my kid, the girls are waiting to meet their Uncle Mike. And then it's like, he has like this weird like thought process, like, Mike, the house is going to blow up. We got to get them out of there. It just explodes right then and there.
Well, Mike says that to Reggie.
Yeah, that was it.
But prior to that, they were talking about Thanksgiving dinner, apparently.
Yeah.
And so Thanksgiving, I mean, I don't know if it was Thanksgiving dinner, but he sure sounded like it was Thanksgiving
I don't know
dinner.
anybody eating a turkey on any other day except Thanksgiving.
That's
like
a good
whole
point.
ass turkey.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really, really good point.
I don't know a turkey connoisseur.
And what happens is they basically go on this whole vendetta, like they're gonna track down the tall man.
Yeah, and that's where it gets really fucking awkward. It starts looking like a car commercial.
Yep.
For like a few hours.
Mm-hmm.
The movie also can't decide whether it wants to be Nightmare on Elm Street, Hellraiser, and
Evil Dead.
Oh, and The Thing.
And Evil Dead.
Yeah, and Evil Dead.
It's definitely all over the place. You know, they basically go on this cross-country trip trying to find out where the tall man is. They go to different towns that apparently been sucked dry by the tall man.
Yeah, the tall man apparently has to kill as many people as possible.
Yeah, he's got to make his midget army as much as he can. And, you know, the interesting thing is like, throughout this whole time, we're also hearing about this other character. Liz, yeah, Liz. You know, and apparently we saw a vision of Liz, and we can't tell if that was a dream or not, but apparently she had fucking, you know, like a Freddy Krueger tumor on her back, you know?
Yeah, and then it comes out, and it's like, nice try, boy.
Yeah, boy is like Angus Scrimm's like favorite word to say.
Also, that's my favorite actual name for an actor. Angus Scrimm.
Yep.
Doesn't have very many lines or appearances in this movie.
Yeah, he's just kind of there. And, you know, his henchmen get more scenes than he does.
And he has henchmen, I just want you to know that.
Yeah, like normal human henchmen, by the way.
Yeah, that was the confusing part.
I guess he manipulates them and brainwashes them, who fucking knows.
It wasn't very clear. Also, he has zombies, too.
He has zombies. He has a priest that's under his control.
Who then betrays him.
Yep, he turns his back on him. And basically, you know, we go through this whole movie where they pick up a hitchhiker. I think her name was what was the girl's name?
It doesn't matter. It was Alchemy.
Alchemy. Yeah, they pick up.
That's the most, and it's funny. They're going to Oregon. That's the most like Oregon ass name I've ever heard.
Yep.
I'm a white girl named Alchemy.
Oh, yeah, I expected that. And basically, they end up going to they finally get to their final destination, which is Alchemy's hometown, and
it turned into a shithole.
You know,
like regular Oregon.
Yep. And it's really funny because this movie is very self-aware, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like the whole fucking time, they're just making one-liners here and there, you know? And then they set up this whole thing where Liz and her grandmother they just buried the grandfather. And it's really hilarious because...
Also, they never explain what happened to her solicitor. What was her name? Jizz?
Whatever the fuck her name was. She just disappeared.
No, yeah, she just disappeared. And that's what I'm saying is like, they never showed her as a midget or anything. Nothing.
Yeah, and what happens is grandma turns into a midget. And, you know, it hits her in the head, and she just jokingly goes, "Oh, sorry, Grandma."
Yeah, like, that was hilarious, though. That, when she hit her with the vase, that shit was just too funny.
Well, it's sad because I know Grandma was, like, really...
really disappointed about Grandpa.
Yeah.
And, I mean, she was traumatized by watching Father McGregor stab right through her.
Right through Grandpa, yeah. It was pretty crazy. But, you know, we kind of get towards, like, you know, the part of the movie where, you know, they're in the town. They're set up in this house. They have, like, a grenade set up.
A hand grenade and a half-cut Budweiser can, like it's Vietnam.
Yep, and then they have a shotgun set up.
Which, by the way, when that grenade goes off, there should have been so much more debris and shrapnel everywhere.
Yeah, and, you know, Reggie's getting laid, and he's basically...
The funniest way possible.
Yeah, and he's just, like, licking his
kissing
top,
and licking the top of his
head, saying, "Oh, I love your head."
Yeah, and then, like, she rides him while choking him.
Yep.
That was, like...
I know you like that.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That's my favorite position.
And, yeah, basically what ends up happening, though, it's a pretty simple movie. The
grenade goes off, and she just acts very confused, though. She's like, "Reggie!"
They come on back. And while they're downstairs inspecting, the tall man steals Liz away to go back to his, you know, fucking house of horrors.
Window.
Yeah. Waiting at the window. And, yeah, so, you know, we have a quadruple-barrel shotgun. We have a flamethrower and all this other interesting stuff, a drill bit. We also have a tiny little chainsaw. They show up to the tall man's house to save Liz. And we basically get the main part of the movie where everything goes crazy and they end up fighting the henchmen. Yeah, the henchmen. You know?
Yeah, henchmen and then minions.
Yep.
And we finally get to see that retarded quadruple barrel shotgun finally be used in this whole movie.
Yep. And then they used it one time and that was it.
Yeah. That was very underwhelming. But not as funny as the scene we skipped over in the house before Liz got kidnapped. When her and Mike are sleeping next to each other and they're looking at each other and their lips aren't moving as they're communicating and they're like, "We're dreaming, Mike." Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's fucking horrible.
The acting was terrible.
Yeah, and, you know, let's talk about the fact in the last movie, every time a car would hit something, it would explode. In this scene, the car flips over, doesn't explode, and then it actually uses real-life physics with the gas fucking leaking out and catching on fire.
Yeah, and let's remember that the only thing that really blows up in this movie is the houses.
Yep, the houses blow up, the cars, not so much. And basically, we find out, by the way, because so we have a big showdown where they're all fighting these different guys. One guy gets cooked in an oven, another guy gets fucking decapitated or gets like just destroyed from the inside by one of the fucking balls.
It turns out the balls are also keys.
So the balls apparently are just like pocket knives. Like they have like 20 different functions.
Yeah. Oh, it lobotomizes people. It shoots 3 prongs in them. It cuts off their ears. It has laser beams.
Yeah. It has a scanner. It can scan everything. It's a key. Apparently, it can grind its way into your body and turn your insides into fucking liquid pulp shit. You know?
Yeah. It's like, but you know, like after explaining all that shit, and then finding out it's also a key.
Yeah.
You know,
Nick was really puzzled by that.
Yeah, it murders everything. Oh, and by the way, it's a key.
Yep, it's a key. And when they get the key, they open up the interdimensional, gate to where they send the fucking barrels of midgets to this other dimension where you have to be shrunk down for whatever fucking reason.
By the way, the midgets are, when they get out of the barrel, they're like slimy goo babies.
Slimy goo babies. And literally, like, poor Reggie's, like, stuck in this other dimension.
And one of them touches him.
And he's like, Mike, get me out of here.
Just get me out of here. Help, Mike. And he's like, I don't want to get touched by this thing.
Yeah. And they end up having their final battle with the tall man, and it's pretty anticlimactic because earlier Reggie filled one of the little vats up that they apparently pump into these fucking bodies.
Yeah, the embalming fluid was filled with hydrochloric acid.
I'm guessing that fluid, what it does is it goes into the regular sized body and it like digests the body and makes it small into a midget. That's the only thing I can kind of figure.
Well, I mean, I don't really know what embalming fluid does other than preserve the insides of the body, but you know. That's the thing. If you're why are you embalming them if you're gonna put them?
It's I don't think it's embalming fluid. I think it's some kind of solution that like shrinks the body or something. It's weird. It doesn't make any sense. But it's just
a funeral home, and then it's not.
Yeah, I mean we're trying to inject logic here, you know, where there's no logic. And
yeah, another thing, every time you like want to predict something like as a joke, it's like when I was talking about, oh yeah, you know. Reggie's probably picking up this chick because he hasn't gotten his dick wet since his family died. And then at the end of the movie, you're like, oh, he's just going to pop up in the front seat.
Yeah.
And he did that same thing. It's like you could predict this shit just trying to be funny.
Yep. It's just, it's self-aware at this point. I mean, literally, they get into a final battle with him. He gets hit by the fucking, you know, by the metal ball. And it does the same thing that it does to everybody else. And the fucking tall man just rips it off his fucking forehead and crushes it like a beer can, like you said.
Yeah, and then he has a tentacle come out of his skull.
Yep, and you know that was never explained because before we could even get an explanation for that, all of a sudden they inject him with the acid-infused bombing fluid that fucking turns him into liquid shit, and he dissolves and falls on the floor.
So, here's the thing, right? He dies, but then he comes back. Does he just feel like pain? Like it sucks every time he dies, but he can come back?
Yeah, I mean, that happens sometimes, you know? You never know, man. I mean, you know, and then when they light up the place, you know, they catch everything on fire. And, you know, by the way, they didn't catch him on fire. They just caught the place on fire. They didn't even bother catching the tall man on fire when they were leaving.
No, they just went with it.
Yep, and that's when they meet up with Alchemy again. And, you know, Reggie thinks,
the hearse.
and Reggie thinks he's going to get lucky. And before it happened, like I said, like Nick said, I called it. I was like, that's the tall man, dude. It's obviously the tall man.
He's brushing her hair, and then a large chunk of her skin just falls off.
Yep.
And then, you know, Reggie's like, hanging out on the outside of the car, like asking for help. You think he's dead.
Yep. Falls on the ground. You think he's totally fucking dead. And then you cut. Just taking a nap. And then the two, you know, Liz and Mike are in the back and they're like, oh, it's just a dream. It's just a dream. And then we get the best fucking line in the entire movie. He just literally, the tall man opens up the fucking, the front window thing and goes, oh, no, it's not.
It's not a dream.
It's not a dream.
And then the movie stops, and then we know that the third movie is going to start at that position right there.
Yeah, we already expect it. We expect it to be. We expect, you know. I'll be honest with you. I expect this movie to be even crazier.
More Cenobites, probably.
Yeah, something like that. But that was Phantasm II. Let's talk about the dumb, cool, and the weird. Let's start with the dumb.
You know what? Let's limit it to like one dumb thing because this whole movie's dumb.
Yes.
The fucking orbs. Okay, the orbs being this all-encompassing Swiss Army knife murder machine.
That's a key.
And then a key. Yeah. Like, that is the most annoying, dumb thing ever. It's like, yeah, so these things will track you down, lobotomize you, turn your insides into gobbledygook, or shoot laser beams after using the infrared tracking system. Oh, and it's a key. It opens up. It works for my car. It works for these doors. You know, fun things.
Well, you know, to kind of add what we talked about earlier, you know, we talked about at the beginning of the movie, you know, the one dumb thing I noticed is all these fucking small towns have no fucking police force. Yeah.
Nobody's like, you know, everybody's dying at a very strange rate here. You know, there's a lot of crime happening with this one.
Nothing.
No.
Nothing.
You know, grave robbery would have been like the top thing that this small town police force would have been like all over trying to figure out
No, exactly. And let's be honest, the cool thing about this movie is when they blew up the fucking house. Dude.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That's where all the budget went, besides the room with the tuning fork portal.
Yep, room with the tuning fork portal, the house, and the car exploding. That's obviously, and I guess you could say the visual effects for the tall man fucking melting.
Yeah.
So, but yes, I think the explosion of the house was the coolest part of that whole fucking movie.
And I guess we got to go to the weird.
Yeah, you can go first, man, because I know you got something to say.
The fact that this movie can't figure out what horror genre it wants to belong to. Are we Cenobites? Are we Deadites? Are we Jawas? Am I the Crypt Keeper?
No.
What the fuck are you? This isn't the Thing.
Yep, and is this a science fiction movie? Is this a horror movie? I mean...
Is it a comedy?
Yeah,
is it a car commercial?
Yeah, literally a car commercial. It literally looked like a car commercial that one time in the movie.
All the like most of the angles, like when they're driving, it looks like it's trying to promote that car. Like, let's go places.
Yeah, let's go places. You got to go murder the fucking tall man next week. You're going places.
Cross country to murder a tall, mysterious man. Get yourself a Mustang.
A Mustang. Yeah, I think the weirdest part about this entire movie is the fact that Reggie tried to pretend at the beginning of the fucking movie that none of that shit really happened and it was all in Mike's mind. That is a bunch of bullshit, dude.
What I thought was funny is he's like, you told everybody that a bunch of midgets that you blew up my house full of midgets that attacked you. I went come to find out that's Reggie's house.
Yeah, it's Reggie's house.
That's Jody's house.
That's weird.
Yeah, I want to know the story about like when the older brother from the first movie, did he just get through part of the movie and he was like, I don't ever want to come back for these again?
Yeah, so then they had to come up with a different plot, I guess.
Because like everything seemed fine.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and this is Phantasm II. I mean, if you want to watch a movie that is fucking batshit crazy, off the wall, watch this movie. But you need to watch Phantasm 1 first.
With all the troubling things in the world, watch Phantasm to make sense of your life.
Yeah, you really upset about the election, just watch Phantasm.
You shit your pants, watch Phantasm.
Yep. Phantasm. It's recommended for the holidays.
And any delusions of grandeur.
Yep. You want to sign us out, Nick?
Stay sexy, Atlanta.
Thanks for watching the Dumb, Cool, Weird podcast, where we cover some of your favorite movies in 20 minutes or less for your convenience. We go over what is dumb, cool, and weird about movies, and check out our Way Back Wednesdays we do sometimes for other stuff. And please share us with your friends.